thank you, thank you. This absolutely warms my heart to see this State House full of South Carolina's best citizens. Thank you. Give yourself. Absolutely historical day. It's a historical day because this is a 3-year battle that we took on, that we said, this is about the people of this state. This is about accountability in South Carolina. And this is about the people having the right to know what their elected officials are doing all the time, because elected officials work for the people, not the other way around. I cannot start without letting you know that, we did great Medicaid reform. We signed a Medicaid reform bill last week that took us right with the rest of the country. But today, we have just gone from one of the weakest states in the country on transparency to one of the strongest in the nation on accountability. To go through that fight with me. First of all, my mom and dad are here because they saw all of it, they heard all of it, so thank you for being here. We're excited this year. I always say God bless Michael, because through all of this he had to hear about it every day. And so Michael, I know you're here. I love you. The biggest message I want you to take from this is that this bill was not about any of us. This was about everybody in this room and all those that can't be with us today. This would not have happened without the will of the people. This is what happens when people care about their government. Because when people care about their government and they do something about it, elected officials listen. Your elected officials listen. They heard you. You were persistent. You reminded them how important this was. This is your day. You have to understand that as we talk about today, you have changed the face of South Carolina forever, and I am thankful. Thank you very much. And with that, I don't know that there is anyone that actually went through the trenches with me anymore than my very dear friend, colleague, desk mate, sweet mate while I was a legislator, Representative Nathan Valentine. This is a wonderful.
Thank you, Governor. I'm almost speechless. This is incredible. This is what then Representative Haley, myself, Representative Sarah Norman, and a handful of others were fighting for inside the House chamber 3 years ago. While we were doing it inside the chamber, every one of y'all here were doing your part at the grassroots level, reaching out by telephones, emails, showing up at events, and letting the colleagues that we work with know this is real, this is something you want, and without y'all doing it on the outside, it would not have happened here internally. So I just wanted to quickly say thank you. We've waited 3 years for this day. I don't want to make us wait much longer, so I'm going to step aside. And again, thank you very much to the citizens of South Carolina for showing that when you speak up and you find your voice, real change can take place in South Carolina.
And one of the things that will happen from now going forward in the state of South Carolina is, I've said, when your elected officials don't do the right thing, we hold their hand to the fire. But when your elected officials do the right thing, you praise them. These people behind me made this happen. They listened to you. They did what you said. Please go thank your House members, the senators that voted for it, and make sure that they understand that when they fight for you, you appreciate them and you listen. Because if you thank them, guess what? They will do it again. So with that, I want to bring up one of the hardest fighters this year on roll call. He did not back down. He stood his ground on the Senate floor no matter what was thrown at him. Senator Larry Martin.
behind this, you know, the team effort in the Senate. And Senator Peeler, I don't think he's gotten here, but he's in a meeting, couldn't get over it, but he was a major force, as were all these other senators that are here in the audience today, working together to bring about this bill. You know, one of the things that we did early in the session was we adopted a rules change that mirrors what is in the statute. And of course, the House was kind enough to work with us on the precise language. We got it done. That's what we're here to celebrate today under the governor's leadership. Wherever you'll have the opportunity to know how we vote on every bill that has the force and effect of law. It's a real pleasure to work with you on this. Thank you very much for being here today. We hear you.
I had hoped that Senator Peeler was going to make his way down. He did not. He was another strong leader as we took on this fight. But we have a golden treasure in the state of South Carolina, and that is the South Carolina Policy Council. And from the very beginning, when Nathan and I took this on, there was no single think tank that put the facts behind what we were talking about any better than the South Carolina Policy Council. And so this was a partnership of what happens when you put good government with good facts and a strong leader. And so it is my pleasure to introduce my friend and a great South Carolinian that fights for all the good people all the time, Ashley Landis in South Carolina.
You know, typically in this country, when we talk about the peaceful transfer of power, we usually mean from one political party or one elected official to another. But today, the transfer of power, the peaceful transfer of power, was from those in here back to all of you out there. That happened because in order to have that peaceful transfer, those who have the power have to be willing to give it up. And to their credit, those standing up here were willing to give it up when you asked for it. Some more readily than others, and some sooner than others, but they did give it up. They gave it back, and that is very much worth celebrating. And of course, you had your champions. And I'll tell you what, there were some tough days for Governor Haley, and I know because I was there. And I never heard her say, you know what, I think I want to go back to being an accountant. And Nathan Valentine, you withstood your public punishment on the floor of the House, and if I haven't told you before, you handled that with a lot of grace. Thank you. And Senator Martin, thank you for not compromising this year on this. Thank you very much. Here's the real deal in the state. The peaceful transfer of power happens because American citizens are always willing to defend our freedom. And in this case, you know, going to those hearings and testifying and looking up and seeing all of you and these folks back here standing up one at a time and saying, give us back our power, that was an awesome thing. And so, remember, without you, this is all just a bunch of talk. It really is about freedom, and it is about your defense of freedom to every one of you who came and still does. And if you like the way this peaceful transfer of power thing feels, we've got a few more ideas. And thank you again to the people who said, this is our state, because as much as politicians love to hold on to power, South Carolinians love to hold on to freedom more. Thank you for that.
Thank you, and with that, I thank all of the people that showed up today. I thank all of the legislators that took time, one, to support and stand strong. Thank you. This is what happens when we work together. I also want to thank all of my great grassroots people that I see back in the back who made this happen. This is the People's Day. This is a day that's historic, but this is one of many days that we have to come. So get excited, I am. And with that, we will open it up to any questions that you may have. And if not, we're going to go and we're going to sign the bill.
I've got two questions. First, just talk about, I know you started this years ago, it seems like 4 years ago, and did you ever think you could see through? And also the second one is, wanting to get a chance to respond to Senator Sheehan's comments.
You know, one is can't is not an option. And I think the one thing is, while I started out and it was just me and Representative Nathan Valentine, what we saw is we had other people join us. You know, and so all these people you saw behind us, they wanted more accountability. They wanted more transparency. It was how are we going to do it? How are we going to get there? And I think the one thing I want people to take from this today is this didn't happen by any one person. This happened by the people staying strong, by their elected officials listening to them, and this is what happens when a state runs the way it should. So it's a very, very proud moment for me. And no, I'm not going to let any Senator Sheehan's comments ruin what is a great day for South Carolina.
Do you consider the bill signing today your greatest accomplishment in the first 100 days, or how would you characterize it with some of your other wins?
We're just getting started. I'm sorry?
How was it that South Carolina before the start?
You know, there were always ways of doing it. They had to have a certain number of people. They did it by rules. The key is, I'm sorry, we should have had a bigger microphone. Rules protect legislators, laws protect people. And what we did today was we protected the people. This becoming law has got every state in the country looking at us saying, look at what South Carolina just did. And it's a proud moment for every person in this room.
How is it just now that this is happening?
You know, I don't think we look past at what we haven't done. What I want us to do is look at the future and say, look at what we're getting ready to do. I have said for a long time that everybody is now going to look at South Carolina as the state on how to do it and how to lead. And with all of these people behind me and all these people in front of me, you are going to see a state that we are very, very proud of. Any other
Last
questions?
question.
All right, let's sign this bill.
Everybody get in front so nobody can.
This is a pen that goes towards the biggest sacrifice I think I've ever seen anyone personally.